Luo Feng's 189th year in Yanji continent. At the edge of the Yanji continent, on a towering mountain range that was millions of kilometers high, a silver-armored, silver-winged young man lay leisurely on a boulder. A blood shadow saber was placed beside him as he muttered, "Does the Nightlife King have something good for me? I hope he's not wasting my time." So, a silhouette appeared beside him. "He's here." The silver-armored, silver-winged youth stood up. "Yang, you sure are relaxed." Night Chen Emperor mocked. This Night Chen Emperor was dressed in dark red armor. He had a pair of wings and a pair of golden eyes. "I'm just enjoying a bit of leisure time." Luo Feng's eyes were like lightning, filled with a tyrannical energy. As a black warrior, he had a rather thick beast god bloodline. Plus, he was constantly in beast god transformation, and his Wu Yui gave off a certain amount of pressure. How could he not be tyrannical? "Speak, why are you looking for me? You didn't even say it in the virtual universe and came all the way here." Luo Feng looked at Night Chen Emperor. "Big news, really big news." Night Chen Emperor emphasized. "What big news?" Luo Feng asked with interest. After a long time, Luo Feng indeed had a large group of emperor friends, of which there were a few from Yanji continent. They mainly used their earth body form and used the name Yang to befriend them. Of course, the golden horned beast made a few friends too, like Star Illusion Emperor. However, the few he befriended were from the more desolate races. He only befriended a total of 3. The Earthling's main body had many friends, and the one he had the closest relationship with was the Nightstar King. Night Chen Emperor, a branch of the Winged Man race, an Emperor Pinnacle warrior who could teleport. He was violent and bloodthirsty and didn't easily acknowledge others. However, the moment he acknowledged someone as a friend, he was naturally very generous. After Luo Feng sparred with him, his strength gained Night Chen Emperor's recognition. Only then did the two truly become friends. Using Night Chen Emperor's words, "Your instantaneous speed is too fast. Even though I can teleport, the moment I do, you've already dodged. Fighting with you, unless it's a warrior who specializes in soul attacks, it'll be very hard to hurt you. Let's talk in your cave." Night Chen Emperor seemed very careful. "So careful?" Luo Feng smiled. He too sensed that something big was about to happen. He brought Night Chen King and flew into his cave. Inside the cave, the two of them sat down. "Yang, you should know some legends about the Yankai continent, right?" Nightstar King transmitted his voice. "Our conversation has to be transmitted. This is to prevent powerful existences with detectors that are more advanced than ours from detecting our conversation." "Ah. Of course, it's rare to find a detector that's more advanced than yours on the Yanji continent. Anyway, we have to be careful." "The legend of the Yanji continent?" Luo Feng was stunned. "You mean, the altar?" The Nightlife King nodded solemnly. There were many mysterious places on the battlefield of the 7-star region. Many high-end battlefields such as the Yazi continent and the Star Tower had some legends. For example, many sacrificial carvings could be seen on the Yazi continent. Even after hundreds of millions of years, they had not completely decayed. The energy used in them was indeed amazing. Many experts who fought in the foreign battlefields were thinking about the Yazi continent's natives. "I've heard of some." Luo Feng frowned. Back when the 7th battlefield was opened, it was said that the warriors of the 4 great races swept through many regions to open the battlefield. The natives of the Yazi continent naturally fled in panic. They didn't dare resist the 4 great races because they didn't have enough time. It seems that only a portion of them managed to escape. Even more were slaughtered. The Yazi continent is most famous for its altar towers. Every altar tower is a large survival base. Many of the treasures of the Yazi continent's natives are placed in these towers. Then they bring the towers with them as they flee. However, even after fleeing in panic, there are still some altars that didn't make it in time. Some were taken by the 4 great races back then, while others are hidden in certain regions of the Yazi continent. It's said that the altars are so mysterious that even the god energy of the universe's knights can't find them. Their detectors can't find them either. Luo Feng said. "In history there have been over 10 altars discovered on the Yazi continent. Did you find me because you found the altars?" Luo Feng smiled at him. The Nightlife King's expression was serious as he nodded. "Damn." Luo Feng suddenly stood up and stared at the Nightlife King. "You're not lying to me? How can such a good thing fall from the sky onto me?" "I'm not lying," the Nightlife King said seriously. "What's going on?" Luo Feng looked at the Nightlife King and frowned as he smiled. "You and I are indeed good friends, but these altars are the survival bases of the Yazi continent's natives when they flee. They contain large amounts of treasures that belong to the entire race. Even though each altar only contains a small portion, it's already very exaggerated for us emperors. There's no reason to give away such boundless treasures." Every place had a story. Just like the Calamitous Star Belt, the Yazi continent, and the Star Tower. They all had stories. The Sacrificial Flame continent's altar tower was very famous, and the 7th battlefield's peak battle zone, the Star Tower, had treasures that would make even king-ranked formidable martial artists go crazy. Of course, it only appeared once in many, many years. However, the probability of finding one was much higher than discovering the altar tower. "You're right. Friends don't have to give away treasures like this." The Nightlife King laughed. "I invited you because I think highly of your flying, dodging, and escaping abilities. If space is sealed at a critical moment, you can rely on your flying abilities to escape. I've sparred with you so many times. Your flying abilities are truly amazing." "Ha." Luo Feng laughed. "I'll tell you in detail, the Nightlife King said seriously. I'm fighting an alien Regis Godfiend. He's hiding deep underground. Although he's slightly weaker than me, he's still a high-level Regis Godfiend. It was a battle. I used all my skills. The ground collapsed and the space shattered. My enemy was already seriously injured. He fought with me while running and accidentally found the altar in the ground. The altar tower is mysterious and unfathomable. Even universe sovereigns can't destroy it or search it. It's the survival base of the Yazzie continent's natives. My opponent and I naturally couldn't forcefully store it in our world rings. However, on the corpses of the Yazzie continent's natives at the entrance of the altar tower, my opponent and I both discovered the talismans to enter the altar tower. We immediately fought over them. The main reason was that he arrived at the altar first and had a slight advantage. Even though I was stronger, I only obtained half of the talismans. There were 6 talismans in total. I got 3 and he got 3. According to the items we found on the corpses, one of them was ordered by the Yazzie continent's natives to enter the altar tower with the talismans. Only when 6 people with the talismans enter from 6 different directions can they open the clan's treasure. Nightlife King shook his head helplessly. My opponent and I both carried the talismans, so we were able to enter the altar tower safely. However, we could only move about in the living quarters of the altar tower. As for the place where the treasure was hidden, it was heavily guarded. 6 beings had to enter from 6 different directions. Only then could we open the door to the treasure. Nightlife King, it's very likely that these 6 beings were natives. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. The design of the altar will definitely allow 100% of the aboriginals to get the treasures. It won't let us other races get the treasures. Even with the 6 talismans, we might not be able to get them. Of course I understand what you mean, Nightlife King said. But, haven't there been other warriors who obtained the altar tower in history? Anyway, the treasure trove of the Yazzie continent's natives, even though it's just one altar tower, should be comparable to a universe knight's wealth. And after countless years, some of the internal defenses have probably deteriorated. Nightlife King said. Taking such a small risk to obtain such a treasure, I'll definitely give it my all. Yang, are you going? Riches come from danger. Luo Feng smiled. Let's go. Luo Feng believed he had many ways to protect himself. And since there were warriors who obtained the altar tower's treasure, why couldn't he? Let's go, follow me to invite Tiger Thorn King. Nightlife King said. Tiger Thorn King? Luo Feng frowned. Let's go. Shwa. Nightlife King brought Luo Feng and teleported. In another distant region of the Yazzie continent, Tiger Thorn King and his team were camped in a cave within a mountain. Living in caves and underground caves were the 2 most common types. Within one of the halls, Luo Feng, Nightlife King and Tiger Thorn King were all there. Even though Tiger Thorn King wasn't human, he belonged to the human camp and had a good relationship with Luo Feng and Nightlife King. Yang, Nightlife King, you 2 have come to my place? Tiger Thorn King communicated. You even have to communicate and forbid my underlings from coming over. Looks like it's a big deal. It's a big deal. The Nightstar King began to recount the entire story again, using the sacrificial pagoda to tempt the Tiger Thorn King. Let's go. Tiger Thorn King slapped the table. With such an opportunity, how can we not fight for it? Even if we go to some extremely dangerous universe secret regions and risk our lives time and time again, we probably won't be able to obtain such a treasure. All right. Nightlife King seemed very excited. I'm good at teleportation, Tiger Thorn King you're good at space sealing and offense, Yang is good at flying. The 3 of us working together, with all 3 of us having plant life support, we'll definitely be able to obtain the treasure. We'll split the treasure according to 2. 1 how about that? Nightlife King looked at the 2. The 3 of us will work together to snatch the treasure, I'll take 2, you 2 each take 1. Tiger Thorn King and Luo Feng exchanged glances. After which they nodded and looked at Nightlife King. All right. Awesome. Nightlife King laughed too. He was clear that the 2 he invited had extraordinary backgrounds. Tiger Thorn King's strength was similar to his, as for Yang's flying ability, it was indeed top-notch. Tiger Thorn King and Yang both had their own trump cards, especially Yang. Every time he saw Yang's wings flap and fly, he felt a sense of awe. If this flying technique was created by Yang, it meant that Yang's talent was heaven-defying, and he was definitely nurtured by his race. If it was taught by teacher Yang, it meant that his background was terrifying. This is the communication talisman. Nightchen Emperor flipped his hand and took out 2 triangular translucent stones covered in complex engravings. It was similar to the jadeite material of Earth. Once the spirit imprint is infused, it'll be considered the owner. Nightchen Emperor said, only with the talisman can you enter the altar, otherwise you can't. These engravings contain the space and water laws. Wow, what mysterious origin law engravings. Tiger Thorn received the talisman and examined it carefully. He couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Luo Feng too received a thread of spirit energy and entered the talisman. Immediately, the spirit imprint entered and the talisman entered Luo Feng's skin. The spirit imprint was also the soul imprint and life imprint. Tiger Thorn received the talisman too. Alright, let's depart. Nightchen Emperor ordered. Shio. The 3 experts from the human camp instantly disappeared from the cave, reappearing in the depths of the underground a trillion kilometers away. Deep underground. Luo Feng felt the space warp. Before he was still in the cave. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in the dark underground. This is. Luo Feng looked at the huge object standing in the mud and rocks. As it was covered by the mud and rocks, he could only see a few hundred meters ahead. This was a huge structure with a circular door. The door was completely shut. Even after 1,000,000,000 years, the altar was completely undamaged. Babata, scan the altar. Luo Feng said. I can't scan the altar. I can only discover that within a 20 kilometers area, there's only mud and rocks. Even the mini-scanning device can't detect it? Luo Feng was shocked. He had long heard that scanning devices couldn't detect the altar. Even a Universe Knight's God energy couldn't detect it. However, only after trying it out did he realize how powerful the altar was. It's clearly right in front of me, yet my God energy scan can't detect it. Tiger Thorn's voice was powerful as he roared. Scanning with my God energy scan, I can only feel that there's countless rocks and mud ahead. However, I can clearly see it with my naked eye. This is the mystery of the altar. Night Shin Emperor smiled. Without reaching the altar, even a Universe Knight can't find it. This altar is the survival base of the Aboriginals when they flee. It's the main tool they use when fleeing. It's just that mysterious. A corpse. Luo Feng looked ahead and saw a corpse lying on the rock. It was about 2.6 m tall, its entire body like jade with 6 arms and a bald head. Its entire body emitted a pressure, that was the pressure of an undying, to be able to go through trillions of years without rotting. This was naturally an undying. The suppressive force is quite strong. This undying corpse's god power is obviously very condensed. It should be king-ranked. The Tiger Thorn King walked over and stood at the side to observe. He's a king-ranked martial artist. The Nightstar King also looked at the corpse and smiled. When I was fleeing, this altar was managed by 6 king-ranked formidable martial artists. Each of them had a message talisman. Looks like he didn't suffer any pain when he died. Luo Feng observed carefully. The corpse had an anxious expression on its face, and its eyes were still wide open. However, it had died just like that and it seemed to have died very suddenly. He died very quickly. Emperors are very hard to kill. However, when he died, his armor wasn't damaged at all. Obviously, there wasn't any intense battle. The Nightstar King said. I guess, when the 4 pinnacle races opened the battlefield, the large group of knights unleashed their soul attacks and swept through the entire Yanji continent. All life on the continent was wiped out. The 6 emperors died instantly too. Luo Feng nodded. Nightstar King, Tiger Thorn King and Luo Feng were outside the passage. Wait patiently for the enemy to arrive. The Nightstar King said. I think he'll be here soon. Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn King sat crossed-legged in front of the passage and waited silently. Within moments, 3 silhouettes appeared before them. Nightstar King, you sure are fast. A sharp and ear-piercing voice rang out, and a 3-meter-tall figure covered in black and gold scales appeared. His head was vertical and his eyes were very small, like those of a poisonous snake. His silver-white lips were opened, and he let out an ear-piercing strange laughter. Jie. These are the 2 helpers you invited? This seemingly barbaric fellow should be Tiger Thorn King. Oh, silver armor and silver wings, never seen them before. He squinted at Luo Feng. Let me introduce them first. The Nightstar King's gaze swept past the 3 warriors of the enemy camp and said solemnly, I, Nightstar King. I, Tiger Thorn King. The barbaric and crazed Tiger Thorn King roared. I don't have the title of emperor yet. My nickname is Yang. Luo Feng's gaze swept past the 3 warriors of the enemy camp. Those 3 warriors. Luo Feng could tell at a glance that 2 of them were from the Chiho tribe, and the other one was the famous King Cangjin of the Sacrifice Yen continent. King Cangjin was famous, so Luo Feng knew a lot about him. As for the 2 from the Chiho tribe, Luo Feng knew nothing about them. After all, his time on the Sacrifice Yen continent was too short. Of the 2 Chiho race warriors, one was close to 3 m tall and the other was only 1.6 m. My side has already introduced themselves. Iceblade, what about you guys? The Nightstar King shouted. My nickname is Iceblade. The 3 m tall Chiho race warrior laughed weirdly. Purple Bell King. The 1.6 m tall Chiho race warrior was similarly skinny and his voice was even more piercing. Ash Gold King. This was a huge man who was as tall as Tiger Thorn King. His face had Thunder Law engravings on it. As he stood there, lightning snakes could be seen around him. That tyrannical aura, pressed down on the human side. However, the Tiger Thorn King also exploded with a heart-palpitating aura. Even space itself seemed to be cracking. 2 camps. One was the human camp and the other was the automaton camp. Of course, the automaton camp didn't have a single automaton. We can be considered to know each other. Iceblade laughed ear-piercingly. Let's enter together. Let's go. Nightstar King said too. Ash Gold Emperor and Purple Bell King followed Iceblade. Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn King followed Nightstar. They all walked directly towards the tunnel door. The tunnel door was already closed, but when the first body of the Iceblade touched the tunnel door, the originally incomparably hard material flowed like liquid. The Iceblade walked into the interior of the altar just like that. Nightstar King did the same. As for Luo Feng and the other 3 warriors, they were still extremely cautious as it was their first time entering the passage. How strange. The moment Luo Feng's body touched it, the passage door automatically flowed, allowing Luo Feng to pass through like water. In the huge circular passage that was about 1 kilometer wide stood Luo Feng and the other 6 emperor-level warriors. Behind them was the passage. This treasure hunt won't be easy. Luo Feng's gaze swept past the three enemy warriors. That ice blade, high-level emperor level, not much of a threat. However, Ash Gold Emperor is an extremely famous warrior in the entire Yanji continent. He should have an emperor-level pinnacle. Young Nightstar King, this is going to be troublesome. Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. I didn't expect them to have Ash Gold Emperor. Nightstar King looked at Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor. That ice blade is weaker than me. He knows that if he doesn't invite someone stronger than him, he probably won't be able to snatch the treasure from me. According to my information and conjecture, that Purple Bell Emperor should have an emperor-level pinnacle. And Ash Gold Emperor, you all know, he's an emperor-level pinnacle. Emperor-level pinnacle. Luo Feng, Tiger Thorn Emperor and Nightstar King all felt the pressure. Emperor-level warriors were divided according to their strength. They were usually split into beginner, upper and pinnacle emperors. Beginner king-level Undying God Body usually had 10,000 times the power of a Sector Lord. Upper-level emperors had about 30,000 times Sector Lord strength. Pinnacle emperors had about 100,000 times Sector Lord strength. And 100,000 times Sector Lord strength was the highest level a human emperor Undying could reach. Without some heaven-defying luck, there was no way to break through. However, amongst the emperor warriors, there were a few who had body amplification techniques. For example, the Golden Horned Beast had the deity of the world, Beast God transformation and the natural ability strengthening technique, which allowed its body to explode with 20 times its strength. Like True Yin, who had received a God General's inheritance. Of course, there were other absolute warriors who had received a God General's inheritance or had body amplifier techniques. Body amplification was very difficult. Beast God transformation was such a technique, yet the first level could only amplify by 2 times. Deities of the world was powerful. However, it was a combination of the Golden Horned Beast's natural talent swallowing to create a body amplifier technique. Just like Luo Feng's Earth Body, he only had one body amplifier technique, the Beast God transformation. Hence, there were very few human body amplifier techniques. Normally, being able to amplify by 3 to 5 times was already very rare. As for the God General's inheritance, there were too few of them. Even the Universe Knights fought for this slot. Large amounts of the races within the Great Alliance fought for it. To obtain a God General's inheritance, one had to spend tens of billions of mixed elements and owe a bunch of favors. This wasn't something normal emperors could do. Therefore, king-conferred experts were usually at the beginner stage, advanced stage, and peak stage king-conferred. Only a few with body amplification techniques or soul amplification techniques, or created their own pinnacle techniques, or had special encounters, could explode with the strength of an emperor, and above. With many fortuitous encounters and one's own abilities, one could create an emperor that was comparable to a normal Universe Knight, like True Yin. An Ash Gold Emperor was at the pinnacle of the emperor level. The pinnacle is only one level stronger than us. Even though we are slightly weaker, the difference isn't huge. Nightchin Emperor said. Leave Ash Gold Emperor to me. Tiger Thorn's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Luo Feng glanced at Tiger Thorn. Tiger Thorn was famous for his ferocity, he could hold his own against Ash Gold Emperor. Actually, we have another advantage in this altar, and that's Yang. Nightchin Emperor surveyed his surroundings. The tall walls of the circular passageway had countless ancient carvings and origin law energies emanating from them. This altar is very mysterious. Its entire body is filled with mysterious energy. For example, the entire space within the altar is sealed. That's why I can't rely on teleportation to enter the core region. Teleportation, this ability was very strong. To be able to teleport from the outside into the ship, if the altar was a normal structure, Nightchin Emperor would have long teleported into the core region. Under the space seal, Yang's speed and dodging will be a huge advantage for us. Also, Tiger Thorn and I are both at the pinnacle of the Emperor level. Even though Ash Gold Emperor is at the pinnacle of the Emperor level, we are not much different from them. Nightchin Emperor said. While Luo Feng's side was conversing, Ice Blade, Purple Bell Emperor and Ash Gold Emperor were conversing too. After a few seconds. Let's enter the core region. Ice Blade said. Let's go. Nightchin Emperor nodded. Their words were beautiful, however Nightchin Emperor's side and Ice Blade's side were secretly on guard. Right now, both sides needed to work together to enter the core region, hence they could maintain peace on the surface. However, the moment they entered the core region, plus they were hostile races and also competitors for the treasures, it would be weird if they didn't kill each other. Purple Bell Emperor looked at Luo Feng and the others, his gaze was like a blade. Luo Feng too looked coldly at him. Enmity? Both sides didn't hide it, they weren't stupid, there was no need to hide it. Corpses. So many corpses. Luo Feng and the others walked along the circular pathway. The entire pathway was 1 kilometer wide and 3 kilometers tall, going around the entire interior and exterior of the altar. Even though the altar's height was only tens of thousands of km, the circular pathway's length was hundreds of thousands of kilometers. The circular pathway occasionally connected to large halls. Every hall had corpses and skeletons. They're all undying corpses. As for the skeletons, they should be Sector Lord level. As for Domain Lord, Universe level, they've long since rotted to the point of nothing. Luo Feng looked at the over 1,000 kilometers wide cabin with corpses. He couldn't help but exclaim within, these were all killed by the 4 pinnacle races. The large group of knights from the 4 pinnacle races may not have discovered the altar. However, the altar could at most hide, it couldn't defend against the soul attacks. The soul attack swept through. They were all destroyed. Even an emperor level being killed instantly, much less the other Undyings or even the weaker natives of the Yenji continent. Yang. Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. Luo Feng glanced at Tiger Thorn Emperor. Have you noticed that all the Undying corpses we've seen, they don't have any space rings, world rings or weapons? Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. Haha. Luo Feng naturally understood the reason. Night Chin Emperor and that Ice Blade, they've looted very cleanly. Tiger Thorn King said, the two of them entered long ago, other than the core region, they at least swept through the residential region. The treasures of the 6 titled emperors and large amounts of other Undyings, just how much did Night Chin King get? It really makes my heart itch. Night Chin Emperor, how's your loot? Tiger Thorn Emperor was direct, communicating and asking. I've only gotten 3 emperor corpses, the Yenji race is far from the human pinnacle races, those emperors are poor too, their loot is average. Night Chin Emperor said directly. You've gotten it easy. Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. The two teams quickly arrived at the entrance of the core area of the altar while conversing via voice transmission. This entrance. Luo Feng looked at the entrance in front of him. This was a gigantic hexagram. The 6 corners of the hexagram were passages, 6 passages with a diameter of around 10 m. Inside the passages was a blurry light. The layers were like thin films, faintly emitting powerful energies that made one's heart palpitate. According to the information we've obtained, the 6 experts will have to enter from 6 different tunnels. They will have to break through layers of obstacles before embedding their messengers into the concave. Only when all 6 messengers have been embedded can they open the tunnel and enter the core area. The treasure is in the core area, Night Chin King said. Yes. Bing Ji nodded. Every passage has layers of obstructions. Ordinary official rank Undying can charge in. It should be a method used by the natives of Flaming Ritual Continent to stop their own juniors from entering the core region. Layers of obstacles? The Mountain Tiger race's Purple Bell King looked coldly at the Ice Blade beside him and snorted, Ice Blade, are you messing with me? The energy faintly emanating from this passageway is not weak. What if it contains a special attack that kills us? If you're afraid, then don't enter. Tiger Thorn snorted coldly. Coward. Luo Feng said intentionally. Ice Blade, the helper you hired is so cowardly. Night Chin King mocked. The human side laughed, causing Ash Gold Emperor, Ice Blade and Purple Bell Emperor to crease their eyebrows. Purple Bell Emperor glanced at the human side and snorted coldly, not saying a word. However, Purple Bell Emperor, Ice Blade and Ash Gold Emperor exchanged glances and communicated. Obviously they had been discussing. Luo Feng, Tiger Thorn Emperor and Night Chin Emperor's side were discussing too. I've already tested it many times. Relax, I'll lead the way in. Night Chin Emperor was extremely confident. I have the Wu Killer Wings general armor, it's not very realistic for this energy to kill me. What's more, this is just my earth body. Even if something happens, it's still within control. Luo Feng was extremely confident. Night Chin Emperor, I trust you. Tiger Thorn Emperor trusted Night Chin Emperor too. After a while, both sides had discussed internally. Now that they were right in front of the treasure, how could they retreat? Enter. Enter. Both teams did the same. Night Chin Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor and Luo Feng each went through a pathway. Ice Blade, Ash Gold Emperor and Purple Bell Emperor too went through a pathway. 6 passageways. 6 powerhouses. This water screen? Luo Feng's wings spread and wrapped around himself, forcing his way in. Chi. The moment he passed through, even though there was some resistance, it couldn't stop Luo Feng's strength. In one breath, he passed through the layers of water screens. Even though each was stronger than the last, Luo Feng's earth body strength was over 10,000 times that of a sector lord. He easily reached the end of the pathway. At the end of the pathway there was a triangular hole in the wall. It matched perfectly with the message Luo Feng had before. The message appeared in Luo Feng's palm and he gently embedded it. Ding. The message entered and the entire pathway's origin law engravings began to light up. Even the space began to tremble. Ding. The other pathways too began to tremble. In an instant, the 6 pathways began to tremble simultaneously. The engravings on the 6 pathways grew brighter and brighter. This scene made Luo Feng and the other warriors nervous. Such treasure hunting had its own risks. If they didn't take the risk, why would they barge in? And everyone was certain that the risk was low. That was why they dared to barge in. Even so, no one had complete confidence. Within the entire control room of the altar's 3D projection floated. Through it, one could see the various regions of the altar. When Luo Feng and the other 6 warriors entered the altar, alien invasion. Sitting in the control room was a 6-armed mechanical puppet made entirely of alloy. It was a mechanical puppet made to imitate the appearance of the natives of the Yenji continent, and it contained an intelligent life. It had been monitoring the entire altar for countless years, and the long years had made it evolve into an intelligent life. After countless years, it finally discovered the alien invasion. So, it immediately stood up and stepped into a water screen. This water screen was the God Country's space pathway. Just like how the Black Dragon Mountain Empire built a fixed pathway to the God Country on their capital planet. A fixed pathway had to do with distance. The further the distance, the more shocking the cost of building and maintaining the pathway. However, the closer the distance, the less the cost of building and maintaining the pathway. Even that Undying from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire could maintain it. Building a pathway in the control room of the altar was a simple matter. An AI robot appeared on the peak of a vast mountain, in front of a majestic temple. Looking down from the peak, it could see densely packed residential areas in the distance. Countless natives of the flame sacrifice realm lived on this vast divine nation continent. So, a golden-robed six-armed tall silhouette appeared in mid-air. It was a flame sacrifice clansman. Master. The AI robot said respectfully. Why aren't you at the altar? Why are you here? The golden-robed warrior said seriously. Master, an intruder has been discovered in the altar. The AI robot said. Intruder? The golden-robed warrior's eyes lit up. Like two beams of light, the space around them crackled. He laughed loudly. Altar, my race's legacy altar. How long has it been? How long has it been? We've been hiding and reproducing, secretly living on some mineral planets. Once we're discovered, we immediately flee, struggling at death's door. Haha. Finally there's an intruder. Finally there's an intruder. The golden-robed warrior laughed loudly. Emperor Undyings are all here. Third brother, bring them all here. The golden-robed warrior's voice rang out in many areas of the God country. In just a breath's time, 11 powerful silhouettes appeared beside the golden-robed warrior. These warriors, all had 6 arms, skin like jade, bald heads. Clearly they were natives of the flame sacrifice continent. And the energy they emitted was incredibly strong. They had already reached the Emperor Undying level. God Master. God Master. The 11 Undying looked at the golden-robed warrior in confusion. What's the rush to summon us? The altar we sat on has finally welcomed an invader. The golden-robed warrior said. Ah. The 11 Undying were so excited their bodies trembled. More than half of them were crying tears of joy. How many years has it been? How many years has it been? Back then, our clan faced a calamity, and the venerable ones were the main targets of the 4 peak clans. We split up into 10,000 teams and fled in different directions. Each team carried our clan's inheritance and treasures in an attempt to rise again. However, those abominable 4 peak level races came too quickly. I'm afraid only a few of our 10,000 teams could escape. The 6 leaders of our team were still arranging for their clansmen to enter the sacrificial tower when the attack came. One of the Emperor's face was full of tears, his body trembling. Some of us Undyings were placed in the core region. Luckily, third brother was smart back then. To prevent any accidents, he left a token in the altar, and we all teleported to third brother's God country. Who knew, when we returned to the altar? We found that the altar was already dead. The 6 leaders all died outside the altar because they were arranging for their people. Without the 6 message talismans, we can't even open the altar's treasure. Without the race's inheritance and treasures, while our God country has countless people, we can't nurture strong warriors. No message talismans. The core region's passageway is closed. Even if we teleport into the core region, we can't leave. We don't dare to return to Yenji continent. We don't dare to return. We don't dare to gamble. Once we're found, the 4 peak races will kill us to the last. Our bloodline will be wiped out. It's been too long. This king-ranked expert's face was wrinkled. Tears streamed down his face, but his eyes were filled with madness. Finally, alien invaders have come. They will bring the transmission talisman. We will finally be able to obtain the transmission talisman and the treasures of our race. Finally, our chance is here. The golden-robed warrior said. The eyes of the other king-ranked experts were filled with a crazed look. 2 chapters completed. Red Tiger, who was in the same hotel room as him, was snoring like thunder. In the distant ancient era, the aboriginals of the Sacrifice Yen continent faced a calamity. Back then, the aboriginals of the Sacrifice Yen continent were just a normal race in the universe. There were less than 10 knights in the race. Against the 4 pinnacle races that opened up the battlefield, they were like ants trembling in fear. Those few knights knew that they were the main targets and the chances of them escaping were extremely low. Hence, they quickly distributed the accumulated treasures of the few universe paragons and their clansmen to their clansmen. At that time, they were actually split into 100 small teams, and Team 9900 was considered to be a fake team. The 10,000 altars were also of different levels. Teams like Team 9900 were cannon fodder that were used to fool the 4 peak clans into pursuing them. Using some special sacrificial runes, the altars also contained aura concealment abilities, and spatial sealing abilities. However, the materials used to build the pagodas were much weaker. Actually, there were many differences between the 100 teams and the 9900 team. For example, in a true legacy team, each team would have 6 king-ranked formidable martial artists leading them. And the normal 9900 team had 6 official Undyings leading them. The treasures were different too. The 9900 normal teams had very few treasures. The inheritors had the true large amounts of treasures, the true inheritors of the race. And obviously, Luo Feng's team had detected that the 6 leaders of this pagoda were all emperor level. This was one of the 100 pagodas back then. At the peak of the mountain the winds howled. This bloodline had survived till now. After countless years, the remaining 12 emperors looked at each other, their eyes filled with passion and madness. Let's go to the pagoda. The gold-robed warrior said. The 11 emperors nodded. The 12 emperors swiftly followed the water screen and passed through it. Within the control room of the pagoda, the gold-robed warrior led the 12 emperors and gathered within the control room. The AI robot followed closely behind. Master, look. The robot pointed at the 3D projection. The pagoda is monitoring the entire area. They are currently following the circular pathway. 6. The gold-robed warrior stared. The 6 silhouettes projected were extremely clear. Whether it was the golden-eyed winged man Night Chin Emperor, the rugged tiger clan's Ice Blade, the tall and huge pale gold emperor, the silver-armored and winged Luo Feng, they were all clearly displayed on the projection. The humans still have some weak alien races, the golden-robed expert said in a low voice. Create a virtual image of these 6 targets. Simulate their auras. A plump kinkin-furred expert standing at the side gave the order. Immediately, 6 figures that were as tall as their real bodies and had simulated auras floated in the control room. The altar simulated at least 10% of the auras of Luo Feng and the other 5. The fattest of the survivors squinted his eyes and said softly, "These 6 should all be at the pinnacle of Emperor level. Maybe with special treasures they're even stronger." "What? Third brother? Clan elder?" The other experts all looked at him. This third brother was the one who brought a group of undyings to his god country. In addition, there were already some clansmen in the god kingdom. That was the only way the original people of the Sacrifice Flame continent could survive. This third brother was also the strongest amongst them, but he rarely took care of anything. The person in charge of this branch was actually the golden-robed expert. "Third brother, are you sure?" The golden-robed expert looked at him. "That's right, Chiyochika wouldn't be wrong." The plump Chiyochika revealed a smile, "And the 6 of them are split into 2 factions. Even though they're moving together, they're enemies. We still have a chance." "Ah. Enemy factions?" The golden-robed expert and the other undyings looked carefully, swiftly discovering some clues and deducing. The 6 were indeed split into 2 factions. "This is our chance," Chiyochika said solemnly. "However, in this battle, the weaker ones are useless." "Clan elder. Third brother." Immediately, some of the lower-level emperor-level clansmen shouted out. "Pu Ai is at the pinnacle, Latimer and Menbu are upper-level emperor level. The 3 of them and me, a total of 4 will stay here. As for Big Brother, the 8 of you will return to the god country." Chiyochika immediately made his decision. "You won't be of much use and this battle will be very dangerous. We don't have many powerful techniques like these other races. We've lost our legacies, so we don't have many techniques. The 8 of you will still have to lead our race. For the race, return." Chiyochika gazed at them. The 8 lower-level emperor level were very unwilling. "Yes. Yes, clan elder. For the race." All of them could only listen to Chiyochika's orders. "Clan elder, god master, all of you have to return. You have to return alive." The 8 lower-level emperor level experts were very worried. "Don't worry, we still have to return the true legacy techniques of the race." Chiyochika waved his hand. "Go." The 8 lower-level emperor level experts followed the water screen and left. In the control room, only the 4 strongest experts in the AI mech were left. The natives of Yenji continent used to live in tribes. Usually, the chief of a tribe was the god master, while the strongest was the clan elder. The clan elder was in charge of leading the tribe, while the god master was in charge of managing the tribe. For strong experts, clan elder Chiyochika, god lord Pu Ai, Latimer, and Menbu, 2 peak stage Regis Godfiends and 2 high-level Regis Godfiends. The enemies will soon reach the core region entrance. Chiyochika pointed at the projection, and the treasures within the core region, as everyone knows, are split into 2 treasure rooms and 1 legacy room. The 2 treasure rooms contain all sorts of expensive materials, weapons, and mysterious treasures. The legacy room contains all sorts of mystic arts that our race has accumulated over countless years that are most suitable for our race's life structure. A vast number of mystic arts are in the legacy room. With these mystic arts, we can bestow different mystic arts to our descendants according to their different talents and nurture powerful experts. Chiyochika said in a low voice, "Our 12 Regis, all came from the Calamity era. None of them were born and nurtured after the disaster. The main reason is that we lack many mystic arts and cannot properly nurture our descendants. After all, the mystic arts that we know are only a 10,000th of the race's mystic arts. Our first target. Seize the legacy room and send the legacy room's mystic arts to the divine kingdom." Chiyochika pointed at the other 2 cabins on the holographic projection. "These 2 are treasure rooms. One of them can be opened only by our clansmen. We've already obtained the treasures in that treasure room. The other treasure room can only be opened by our clansmen with the communication talisman. Of the 2 treasure rooms, one has few treasures and the other has many. According to what I know, the second treasure room has tens of times more treasures than the first." Chiyochika said in a low voice, "The second target is this unopened treasure room." The other 3 nodded. The difficulty of opening the 3 treasure rooms varied. The easiest to open was also the one with the least treasures. They had long obtained it. Only the last 2 treasure rooms were left. One was the treasure room and the other was the mystic arts. Although the treasures are precious, the mystic arts are more important to our race. Therefore, we must first do our best to seize the legacy room." Chiyochika shouted, "Don't be confused by the treasures. Those treasures are useful to you, but they are of little use to nurture our descendants. Everything is for our race." "Understood, clan elder." Menbu and Latimer nodded. "Understood, third brother." The golden-robed expert Pu Ai nodded as well. "All right." Chiyochika nodded. "We still have a high chance of obtaining both the treasure room and the legacy room. After all, only our race can open them. Pu Ai, Membu and Latimer all nodded. Of course we can't fight them head-on. The moment we show ourselves they will join forces against us. Chiyo Chika pointed at the first treasure room, which was also the treasure room they had opened before. This first treasure room is where I plan to make them kill each other. Clan Elder, but we've already emptied the first treasure room. Membu said doubtfully. If we emptied it we can just put some treasures in there. Chiyo Chika sneered. The treasure chest we obtained from the treasure room is still in my hands. This treasure chest is just a chest. At most, the materials used are expensive. The 3 treasure chests from back then were left there but there was nothing inside. They discovered the treasure chest, but they couldn't use godly power to check it, and the last words of our ancestors. Right. It would be strange if they didn't kill each other. They definitely thought we were all dead. There's no other life in the tower, they definitely wouldn't be wary. Chiyo Chika nodded. It's not that we're smart, it's just that they didn't expect there to be other Yenji race members alive. Remember, they don't know of our existence. This is our greatest advantage. We can't reveal ourselves until the very last moment. I'll go arrange for the first treasure room now. Chiyo Chika swiftly left the control room and began to arrange. After a while he returned. Within the control room the 4 warriors watched silently. 6 communication talismans. They indeed all have them. The passage to the core region has opened. We need to think of a way to get a talisman. Only then can we open the legacy room and the second treasure room. Ka. The 6 passages shook and started to revolve simultaneously. They revolved slowly and gradually connected with a clear passage before stopping. The passage ahead was completely clear. Core region. Luo Feng carefully folded his wings and entered the passage. After which he leapt out and landed on the ground. It was a vast and spacious hall. Songjin Emperor, Purple Zhong Emperor and Night Chen Emperor were already standing there. Yang. Tiger Thorn Emperor landed too. Tiger Thorn and Luo Feng exchanged glances and walked to Night Chen Emperor's side. An Ice Blade, Songjin Emperor and Purple Zhong Emperor stood together. Be careful, we've already entered the core region. Before, we still had to rely on the 6 communication talismans to open the passage. There's no need now, the battle could break out at any time. Night Chen Emperor communicated. Yang, especially you, your undying body is the weakest. That Songjin Emperor is extremely strong, he might make a move against you first. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Shio. In the distance, King Ageless Gold, Ice Blade and Purple Bell King instantly turned into 3 streams of light and split into 2. King Ageless Gold flew along a corridor, while Ice Blade and Purple Bell King flew along another corridor. Obviously they were already searching for treasures as fast as they could.